We will be able to remember all those who've died in our name. We will be able to remember all those who have been raped because they fight for a free Ambazonia. You have come from all places. You've taken time from all your chores. You are here today because you are the true inhabitants of that place that was taken away from us. You have come here as soldiers of the revolution, the last people standing to defend our values, our customs, and our tradition. You've come here to send a message to those who have occupied our homeland, have raped our girls and turned our fathers into boys. That before they will occupy our land in the next 2 years, they will have to eliminate every Ambazonian from the planet Earth. 45 years ago, they instituted a concept of national unity. That concept coexisted with the destruction of our economic potentials. When we protested, they called us terrorists. They said they were standing for national unity. That national unity meant the destruction of our own potentials. It meant the elimination of our own leaders, our own patriot volunteers. The concept of nationality, of national unity meant we did not have a university, that we should go to Yaoundé and study in French in the name of national unity. It meant we could not have a
Good afternoon, fellow Ambazonians. Good evening to you, our great, our brave, and our resilient people. Over the last 48 hours, you've watched, you've heard, you've listened to what is transpiring. The various developments taking place across the United States as well as in Europe regarding the Ambazonia Governing Council, regarding the Cameroon-Ambazonian conflict, and regarding the success of our 2 weeks lockdown. Over the last 48 hours, you've all watched and heard the news of the various interrogations, the various questionings of some officials of Ambazonia Governing Council, including the leader himself. It took place in the United States. 2 officials of Ambazonia Governing Council were questioned by the federal agents in the United States, and the leader of our liberation, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, is under questioning by the Norwegian security authorities. You must understand why this is taking place. You must understand the context and why. 2 weeks ago, we declared a lockdown across the Ambazonian territory. The lockdown was extremely successful. Cameroon, the occupying state, had told the world that it still had some control in Ambazonia. Cameroon had informed the international community that it still has authority in Ambazonia. It has control, it has authority, and the people still believe and listen to Cameroon colonial authorities. Cameroon even deployed extra 5 to 10,000 security and military forces into the territory to prove to the international community that Cameroon still has some form of control in Ambazonia. Then they were faced with what is that reality? Non-violent action, the civil disobedience, the collective action of the Ambazonian people to send a clear message to the international system, to the international community, that we collectively reject Cameroon's occupation. We collectively reject Cameroon colonialism. We collectively reject their presence in our territory. All Ambazonians across the 13 states obeyed the lockdown. What happened to the extra 5 to 10,000 security and military forces Cameroon deployed to Ambazonia? What happened to them? Were they able to stop the lockdown? Was Okala Bilai, who was in charge of Ambazonia in those 2 weeks? Was it the Cameroon occupation, military, and its terrorist security forces? Was it Okala Bilai? Was it Lele Lafrique? Was it the colonial senators? Was it the colonial parliamentarians? Was it the colonial government delegates? Was it the colonial mayors? Was it the colonial SDO? Was it the colonial DOs? Was it the colonial councillors? Who was in charge of Ambazonia during the lockdown? The Ambazonian people were in charge. Was it Philemon Young that was in charge? Was it Diongute that was in charge? Was it the colonial dictator that was in charge? The answer is no. We declared a lockdown. Our people observed the lockdown as a collective act of defiance, as an expression of the rejection of foreign occupation and colonialism, as a rejection of anything Cameroon in Ambazonia. The colonial military were humiliated, colonial councillors humiliated, colonial mayors humiliated, colonial DOs humiliated, colonial SDO humiliated, the colonial parliamentarians humiliated, colonial senators humiliated, Diongute humiliated, Bia humiliated because of that outcome, because of that defeat. How can they justify to the international community that they still have some form of control of Ambazonia, that they still have some form of authority of Ambazonia, when the evidence is so clear? That defeat, that humiliation as to who is in charge of Ambazonia, as to who is in control of Ambazonia, that's what Cameroon cannot handle. That is what Cameroon cannot explain to the international system. That loss of legitimacy. That is what has caused this rampage. That is what is causing this international turmoil. That is what is going on. Cameroon cannot handle the defeat by the Ambazonian people. Cameroon cannot handle the collective rejection by the Ambazonian people. That's what is going on. That's why Cameroon wants to divert the attention of the international community. That's why Cameroon wants to divert the attention of the Ambazonian people. That's why Cameroon wants to divert the attention of the Cameroonese people. Cameroon cannot handle the reality. Cameroon doesn't want to accept the reality of the defeat So it had to redefine the context by injecting a new twist into the discussions. That's what's going on. That's why they sent all their collective bribe and compromised Cambazonians to launch fraudulent, trump-up charges or complaints across the globe. That's why they've sponsored all colonial authorities and sent them into the diaspora. That's why they have hired fake lawyers to write all sorts of complaints into international institutions. So when this complaint comes in, it is a responsibility of the international system to respond and do their investigations. The leader has prepared all of us that in the face of Ambazonian victory, when it becomes clear that the end has come for Cameroon, they will take all sorts of desperate actions to hide their shame. Here is what you need to know. You, the Ambazonian people, are now in charge. The game is over for Cameroon. They arrest Siseko Ayokabe and the Naira 10. The deliberation came to an end? No. They killed General Ivomba. Few months later, did the deliberation come to an end? No. They've committed all sorts of massacres. They've burned down 2,000 villages and sent 75,000 Ambazonians to become refugees and displaced persons. Has the liberation come to an end? No. They've killed school children, pregnant women, rape. Has the liberation come to an end? No. Killed General Efang. They killed General OPT. We are still standing. Ghost town is still going on. Why? Because the Ambazonian people are tired of Cameroon. Because the Ambazonian people don't want anything to do with Cameroon anymore. Because the Ambazonian people want freedom. Cameroon is a genocide state. Biya is a murderer. They are terrorist army. We don't want them anymore. They have to leave our land. The questioning or taking into custody for questioning of Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba has amplified the conflict, has reignited the conflict, has re-internationalized the conflict. They have touched the wrong person at the wrong time. This is Ambazonians' moment. You can't steal the victory from us. You can't change the subject. You can't redefine the narrative. Taking into questioning the leader of Ambazonian liberation struggle, Dr. Cho Lucas Ayaba, the commander-in-chief of Ambazonian forces, the man who invoked our right for self-defense and gave the Ambazonian people an army to defend themselves. You have made our case stronger. This is the time. This is the beginning of the end of Cameroon, because it will go to the highest level of the international system. It will not end in Norway. It's not going to end between lawyers in Norway and the Norwegian state. It is going to get to the highest level of the international system. You will pack out. You will pack out. Cameroon must leave Ambazonia. There is no negotiation about this. There is no compromise about this. You have opened the doors of diplomacy people. We are re-educating the West. We are re-educating Canada, Norway, France, UK, US. We are re-educating them because Ambazonia is not Cameroon. You signed the Toronto Declaration during the Canada pre-talks. Conflict is in the Ambazonian territory and not in Cameroon. The conflict is in the occupied territory of Ambazonia. And Ambazonia has the right to defend itself against foreign occupation and foreign invasion. We have a right to defend ourselves against the Bulu terrorist state. The Toronto Declaration, the outcome of Canada, Cameroon, Ambazonia talks in Canada. Cameroon accepted to identify us as the people of former British territory of Southern Cameroon. You did not define us as a people of Republic of Cameroon. Know this. There is no escape for Cameroon. This is another battle we will defeat you. So, fellow Ambazonians, in the next 5 days is your Independence Day. That is the focus. That is the focus. All Ambazonians, mobilize yourselves, organize yourselves to celebrate your Independence Day. You've achieved the biggest victory during the 2 weeks lockdown. Now is the time to once again show the world, tell the world, we are Ambazonians and we hereby declare ourselves and proclaim our independence. Our community school children, private schools children, parents, community leaders, all of you should come together and celebrate your independence. The territory is yours. For Cameroon, it's over. Its adventures in Ambazonia have come to an end. They cannot change the subject and they cannot redefine the narratives. Our forces, the leader has prepared all of you for this moment. Ivo prepared all of you. Efang prepared all of you. No Pity prepared all of you. You are in charge. All generals and commanders, you are in charge of the territory. Proclaim your power, proclaim your authority, and help the Ambazonian people to proclaim and celebrate their independence. The liberation continues.
Pain. I see in your eyes anguish. I can read plastered on your faces uncertainty. But that uncertainty, anguish, and pain coexist with hope. Hope that one day we will be able to walk into a free homeland. We will be able to remember all those who've died in our name. We will be able to remember all those who have been raped because they fight for a free Ambazonia. You have come from all places. You've taken time from all your chores. You are here today because you are the true inhabitants of that place that was taken away from us. You have come here as soldiers of the revolution, the last people standing to defend our values, our customs, and our tradition. You've come here to send a message to those who have occupied our homeland, have raped our girls and turned our fathers into boys, that before they will occupy our land in the next 2 years, they will have to eliminate every Ambazonian from the planet Earth. 45 years ago, they instituted a concept of national unity. That concept coexisted with the destruction of our economic potentials. When we protested, they called us terrorists. They said they were standing for national unity. That national unity meant the destruction of our own potentials. It meant the elimination of our own leaders, our own patriot volunteers. The concept of nationality, of national unity, meant we did not have a university, that we should go to Yaoundé and study in French in the name of national unity. It meant we could not have our own parliament, because they thought asking us to sit in Yaoundé was the concept of national unity. They thought we didn't have a right to marketing board, because we should depend on them because of the concept of national unity. They thought they would destroy our police forces, and we should depend on their own protection on the concept of national unity. 45 years ago, they lied us. 45 years after, we have vowed as a people who have suffered tribulation, economic deprivation, political exclusion, pain, anguish, hopelessness, scattered and dotted in the capitals of Western places, being unsure what tomorrow holds for us, being unsure what our children will become, because we went to schools that was dedicated to the production of people who had no value. The best schools which were just 4 walls to turn us into dependent, to turn us into hopeless people. The best schools that were prison walls where they could revise our history, educate us in their own history to make us slaves. They turn us slaves in the land of our birth. Until a young man called BBC Mancho took his coffin on the street and told Cameroon, give us freedom or give us death. We are here today with our own coffin to bury the concept of national unity, as our brother has said, 1,000 feet down the earth.
Yes!
Never again, Ambazonians. Never again, Ambazonians.
Never again.
Never shall we allow a people whom we thought were our brothers to steal our own pride, to steal our happiness, to treat us like a captured people, to build prisons where they could kidnap our young boys and young girls, transport them from our own city into their own capital. Never again shall we coexist with the people who have no respect for our own essentiality. Never again shall we live with a neighbor that exploits our resources to develop its own country. Never again shall we live with a state that considers us a liability, refuses to develop our own capabilities to become assets to ourselves and our homeland. Never again shall we tolerate a system that denies us the right to exist. Never again shall we let our children be tortured on the streets of our country. Never again, my people, shall we live in pain, shall we live in anguish, hopelessness. Never again shall we sit back and watch our women rape in hostels. Men of Ambazonia, I want you to take the battle block by block, neighborhood by neighborhood. If not for yourself, for our women, for our children, for all those mothers who cannot go to the market because we've imposed ghost towns, for those children who cannot go to school because they've given us an educational system that is a liability, for the lawyers who cannot go to court because they cannot speak the English language in our courts, for all of you sitting in asylum homes in dotted places, hopeless, not knowing what your future would be, whether you will end up in an old people's home or you will return to a land that is hopeless. You are here as soldiers of the revolution. Fight for your country. Never let anybody tell you it's impossible. I have come here as the commander of this revolution to let you know that we will defeat Cameroon. We will not only defeat Cameroon, we will make it impossible for Cameroon again to ever invade our land. I have come here to assure you, to give you the assurances. A few months down the line, we will be able to make our country ungovernable for the Ekemas, the Muketes, the Atanganjis, all those who keep collaborating with the system, the Musonges, the Achidi Ajus, all the parliamentarians who legitimize occupation in Yaoundé. If they cross the Mongo and the Matasin, that will be a one-way ticket to hell. We will make it impossible for them to ever return in our homeland, to legitimize a system that has brought us pain, unhappiness, anguish, uncertainty. It is the land of our birth. It belongs to you. For those people yet unborn, for those children who are not going to school, it is your right to exist. And you are here to let Cameroon, to let all those who support Cameroon, to let all those who tolerate this illegality know that our day shall come. The day we will be able to walk into our capital, build a system that responds to our needs, to our norms, customs, and values, that protect our children from hopelessness, that make our men real men, that give our women equal opportunity, that stop the woman.
Revolution is very challenging. And sometimes you are bound as a human being to question why you fight. You're bound to question why you fight. Sometimes you are even bound to forget why you fight. You are so much captured in the chaos of the moment that you sometimes forget the beauty of the aftermath of this case. Somewhere I read that we all are fighting for independence. Somewhere I read that we all want to be free. Somewhere I read that Ambazonians want a country of their own. And so you look at this big picture. It's about independence, abstract, political configuration. That's what you think you're fighting for. No. You are fighting to build a society where all those who propagate tribalism, propagate hate and division, do not have their way. You're fighting to build a society where you can live in Moyoka and feel an Ambazonian. Develop Moyoka and feel an Ambazonian. That your presence in Moyoka will never be questioned by someone who grew up in Moyoka. You're fighting for a society where you have freedom of assembly, freedom of speech. You're fighting to have a system where you have proper health care, where a woman doesn't die every minute of childbirth. You want to build an educational system that is an asset to the people who pass through it than a liability. A legal system that presumes you're not guilty until you're found guilty by a court of law. That you can, a system where you can never simply be impeached on false premises, never have a trial, but punish. You want to build a country where from the north, south, east, and west, you can feel at home everywhere. Where you can have opportunities based on merit, not because of nepotism. You're fighting for a country where you have economic opportunities, where your creative ability can translate into a better life for you, your family, your society, and those beyond our own shores. Where your vote counts, where you can choose your leaders and deselect them anytime you want. And that space within which those things can happen will be in a free Ambazonia. So what we call political independence is a container for all of the good things we are fighting for.
Welcome to ACN. Welcome to